Classic rock. What is it about classic rock? We all talk about, like, what is classic rock? Like rock that's been around for 20 years. Well, when I was 15 years old, classic rock meant, 20 or more years. Classic rock meant, when I was a teenager growing up, it was music that was recorded between 1964 to probably 1974 or 75. Of course, that was back in 1993. And by that time, cultural icons such as Bruce Springsteen, the likes of Bruce Springsteen, Elton John, and Led Zeppelin had all ranked up, right there with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Grateful Dead, the Doors, the Who, Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Steppenwolf right there as classic rock. And you had pioneer heavy metal hitters such as Black Sabbath and Blue Oyster Cult. They ended up in that roster as well. How's it going, old schoolers? You are Kicking It Old School. I'm your host, Russell J.S. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a video. I've been meaning to do quite a few videos in the last few weeks, except I was working a lot, and I came down with a really bad toothache. Turns out I got 2 wisdom teeth I have to get yanked, and as you can see, I got glasses now. I want to talk about, because there are some bands that came out in a time when I was going in my 20s. I'm almost 43 years old now, but when I was in my 20s, in the late 90s, the only thing that really saturated MTV at the time was hip-hop, boy bands, and slushy pop princesses like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. But there came a breed while Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, and Pantera were still flying the heavy metal flag with pride and dignity along with AC/DC. There came a whole new thing of hard rock bands that came out in the late 1990s and went on into the 2000s. And I want to share with you 6 of my favorite CDs from this time. And as usual, if you're new to the channel, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below for more videos. And I'm planning on more videos, plus something else going on where I'm probably going to have my first ever road trip cross country. Probably going to have a stop, because I'm going to see my daughter sometime in the middle of the summer. So there's going to probably be a stop in Jacksonville, a little special surprise. But without further ado, let's check out these bad Oscars, shall we? First, there was a strew of what they called new metal. N-U, new, with those 2 dots on top of the U, kind of like the Blue Oyster Cult title, or, like the Jägermeister, like what you find on Jägermeister bottles. But the first one on this list is the self-titled debut by Godsmack. Now, when I first heard this, it took a while, and I took a liking to them. That one song, Voodoo, makes me think about what would happen if the Doors came out in the late 1990s. Because they kind of got that vibe of the Doors and Led Zeppelin and early Sabbath. A quartet from Boston, songs like Whatever and Moon Baby. Like I said, it took me a while to really, it took me a short while, and they really grew on me, because I was still, in the old school, Here's the thing, alright, I'm getting off base here. What I want to say is these CDs, these groups I'm about to share with you, I can't believe it's classic rock now. I can remember, when I was 25 years old back in 2003, I was getting off work. I stopped at a 7-Eleven to go get gas in my car, and at the time I smoked to get a pack of cigarettes. And I went over the magazine rack like I normally do, and I think it was either Rolling Stone or Revolver had Motley Crue on the cover, and it said the new classic rock, and I'm like, what? Because again, like I said, to me, classic rock was everything from the Beatles to Led Zeppelin. And, you know, it blew my mind, because it's like, oh my God, am I old? And, you know, you had like newer bands like Godsmack at the time. And I'm like, I must be getting old, man. And I was starting to see gray starting to sprout in my dark beard at the time, which, by the way, I gotta dye again. But yeah, Godsmack, you know, this first album right here, to listen to it from beginning to end, it's a phenomenal album. And right here in my hometown of Cape Coral, Florida, where I reside, where I've been residing really since 1986, drummer Shannon Larkin has a house out here. As a matter of fact, in downtown over in the bar and club scene, if they have like some kind of local battle of the bands, he comes down as a guest judge and judges these bands. So that's really totally cool, and he does a lot for our community here, and supports local businesses and things like that, you know, which you should. But this album right here, you know, it reminds me of Doors, Led Zeppelin, and Black Sabbath all wrapped in one. I mean, Sully just, you know, he's almost like Jim Morrison in a way. He's kind of got that deep, dark tone in his voice. This is one, if, you know, if, you know, anybody that's a Godsmack fan, you know what I'm talking about. So that's number one. Number two on my list right here, I've always liked this guy's guitar playing, and, you know, he's in a class all by himself when it came to filling big shoes. He's none other than Zakk Wylde of the Ozzy Osbourne band. And his band, Black Label Society, this album right here, Sonic Brew. I mean, Bored to Tears, Spoke in the Wheel, and the man's got a tremendous singing voice. He kind of does that thing as well, like Hendrix, Sabbath, and Zeppelin kind of deal. But, you know, when Ozzy first found him, I guess some of Ozzy's entourage saw him, you know, playing with his band at a club in Jersey, and he was a gas station attendant. Ozzy wanted him. I don't remember how the story went, but, you know, Ozzy wanted him because he was completely original. I mean, he could take all the stuff that Ozzy played, like all the Sabbath and the Randy Rhoads era and the Jake E. Lee era, and he can almost blend it into his own. And he's, you know, a guitar player. You know, to me, he is, for Ozzy Osbourne, what Bruce Kulick would be for Kiss back in the 80s. You know, he was the perfect, you know, he was perfect to fill big shoes, just like Bruce Kulick was for Kiss. But this CD right here, I mean, it's like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, and Hendrix all in one, and you can't go wrong with Zakk Wylde. And next one, that's one of my favorites. When I heard this one, I thought, whoa, this is intense. It's like punk and metal all rolled into one. System of a Down. I first saw the video for Chop Suey and Toxicity, and I was just blown away. I mean, at the time this came out, I remember we had the 9/11 attacks, and I can remember the singer almost looked like he was Middle Eastern, and I was like, you know, I hope that, you know, people don't hassle him. And, you know, I thought to myself, wow, these guys are excellent. They're phenomenal. I mean, this is another one that's, you know, worth the $15 to $18 at Walmart. I listen to this. I mean, this is like a go-to CD for me when I'm, you know, when I want influence on playing music. And, you know, like Bounce, Needles, you know, Psycho, Aerials, you know, a lot of great tunes off of this. And they were the best band of 2001. And, you know, this is one of my favorite CDs of that time. And then the next one I got, Puddle of Mud, Come Clean. Now this CD, I mean, I like how the first video they ever aired on MTV was for Control, and yet it's the first track off this CD, and then you got songs like She Hates Me and Blurry. Blurry is a very good song, you know, about a guy missing being with his kid. But I'll tell you, my favorite is Drift and Die. I love that. I love, you know, with the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar. A lot of people said that they were like Nirvana and Alice in Chains wannabes. No, I thought they were in a class by themselves, maybe influenced by Nirvana and Alice in Chains. But, you know, Wes Scantlin, you know, really great singer and songwriter, great frontman. Oh, yeah, they are excellent. I love them. And then the next one here, these guys were labeled the poor man's Metallica, but I beg to differ. I'm not really a huge fan. I am a huge fan of this album right here, their second album. Please don't threaten to beat me up. Yes, I like this Nickelback CD. I mean, Too Bad, Never Again, you know, and How You Remind Me. I mean, a lot of great songs off of this. I mean, it was like a rebirth of hard rock in the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, it was, you know, you had this phenomenon going on, you know, at the midst of these so-called boy bands and these, you know, pop princesses that the only talent they have is, you know, they're great vocalists in the recording studio, yeah, I'm sure, but, you know, there they are lip syncing and they're musicians pantomiming, and all that anybody cares about is the dance numbers. Because that's the problem with the industry today, you know. It's like they don't care how good of a musician you are, how good of a songwriter you are. All they care about is how you're going to look. How you're going to look on stage, and, you know, that's that. And then the last one on our list here, I never really was a big fan, but it took a while. They warmed up to me, and I brought their greatest hits CD. Yeah, I like Creed. I like Creed now. I mean, I thought that was I mean, like Nickelback. I mean, Nickelback, when I mentioned, people used to say they were the poor man's Metallica. Actually, no, they were the 21st century's answer, Canada's 21st century answer to Bon Jovi. Okay, where, you know, all the women think that the guys look hot and everything like that, and they're good songwriters, but no, they're not. I'm sorry, they're not the poor man's Metallica. But Creed, yeah, same thing. People dubbed these guys as Pearl Jam wannabes. You know, I didn't even pay much attention. Then one night I was at a karaoke and people were singing, you know, Creed songs. And, you know, I was just paying attention to the lyrics, and some of those lyrics have got meaning to them. Like the song With Arms Wide Open, Scott Stapp penned that about his unborn son, you know, how he has to be and what he has to do. And any decent man that's about to be a father or is a father can relate to that song. But yeah, it took a while. I think it was until I realized I had a daughter, you know, like Creed. You know, I started paying attention to Creed, and I started paying attention to a lot of songs, because a lot of them are very spiritual and relatable. And there were other artists, you know, I wasn't a big Limp Bizkit fan. I couldn't get into Limp Bizkit. Those are the CDs that I love from that time. I couldn't get into Limp Bizkit. You know, Kid Rock has a few good ones I like. And, you know, like Saliva is good. And, you know, Mudvayne, But, you know, it's hard to believe. The meaning behind this video is, I can't believe they're classic rock now. I mean, it really does make me feel old. I mean, I can remember feeling old, like I said, when I saw Motley Crue on the cover of that magazine and they were dubbed classic rock. But, yeah, they're classic rock now. I guess that means bands like Metallica, Pantera, Pearl Jam, Guns N' Roses, I guess they're oldies now. I mean, heck, I think bands like the Ramones, AC/DC, the Misfits, Motley Crue, oh, they're beyond solid gold oldies. But yeah, I just had to go ahead, come out to this park. It's JC Park in Cape Coral. Beautiful Sunday afternoon, February 28th, 2021. and a lot of activity going on, and I got a lot of stuff in the works. I know I've been saying that for over a year now, but, you know, a lot of things have hit us, you know, like the COVID and everything like that. But, my throat's dry. And no, don't worry, I don't have COVID, people. It's just, it's been like that for a long time. For years, I was a heavy smoker. And then, you know, I got on to vape. And, well, I've been on it ever since. But yeah, you know, I've been meaning to get down to making a video. But like I said, I had been busy with work. And I was suffering from a toothache that was excruciating. I mean, so bad, even 2 Tylenol PM couldn't knock it down so I could get some sleep. I mean, 2 nights in a row a few weeks ago, I was up until 3 in the morning fighting this thing. I mean, swishing peroxide, putting Oragel on the pain. At one point, it happened to be from a tooth that got pulled. I had a tooth pulled about 4 years ago, and it broke right out of my gum, and they left a piece in there, and they said, oh, we can't get to it. And I'm like, you know, that's pure laziness. You can get to it. 4 years later, about a few weeks ago, I wiggled at it, and I pulled it right out, and it was a little piece about that big that was rotted and decayed. And I looked at it, and I thought to myself, wow, hard to believe that this little bugger can be such a big problem. But it was. And, you know, like I said, I've just been too tired and too burned out to make a video. I wanted to do a string of videos, because I wanted to do this one. And I also, a few months back, got the Contra, you know, the My Arcade Contra, which I want to do a video of. And I was doing a video, and what happened was it stopped in the middle of the video. But that's what's been going on. Anyway, I got to go ahead and get moving. I got to pick up some groceries. I just got back from church. I just got done from church, and I just wanted to make a video. And again, if you're new to this channel, feel free to subscribe, hit a like if you like the video, and leave a comment in the box below. And check out all my other videos too, and tell your friends all about it. So anyway, this is your old pal Russell J.S. wanting to wish you Godspeed, and may the Force be with you always.